What's good? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? I'm just getting everything kind of set up right quick. Not gonna lie. And I was listening to music, so there's that. Having my own little mini jam session. I'm looking. I think I'm having an issue, right? Let me see if anybody can help me out here. I'm having like a minor issue, right? Where uh when I have artists come over, right, they want to they might like have beats or references on their phone and they're trying to plug into the speakers. And it's just like, that's not how that works. Because I think the common assumption is, treat it like a speaker where it's like 3.5 millimeter jack into interface, which is output to the speakers, and that's not the case. And I had actually right here, I have this little speaker. I got a JBL little random guy, just so I can check mixes and just generally use it for like a speaker. And this is gonna sound like the stupidest problem in the world, but I don't care because I feel like I'm entitled to my problems. Um, all of my devices, or I should say the majority of like all my stuff at this point, is a USB-C cable, like charging device or whatever. Either that or lightning, which really just means my phone and like a few like random stuff, just not even like on my desk, but just like in my life, is just like USB-C or the lightning connection. And this is a micro USB cable. And the cable like died. So I want to use that as an excuse to buy a new speaker. However, the speaker that I want is a Beats pill, and the new pill doesn't have ins and outs on it. It's just Bluetooth only. And one of the perks of this particular speaker when I got it was because it had this little back flap on the back where you can, where the charger is, but also has a output on it, so I can like connect to it. So I could connect my computer via a like regular like headphone cable or whatever, and kind of go from there. Um, but Bluetooth was fine, and honestly, I don't really work off of like it's really like the amount of times I've actually used it for like with that specific use case. Excuse me, it's very small, so it's not like it's the biggest deal in the world. But this was my option when I had people come over and be like, "Yo, I want to play something or whatever." Now, I know somebody is sitting there in the chat, right, saying that's a very easy solution and a whole lot cheaper to just buy another micro USB cable or whatever and call it a day. You would be right. The minor complaint comes in when people see the speakers on my desk and say, no, I don't want to use that little red speaker. I want to connect my phone to the mains on your desk, like the big speakers. And we still run into the same problem. So I honestly think the solution was it wasn't an audio bot. It wasn't like an audio interface. Or I guess it could have been used as one. But before I upgraded to my Apollo, I had what was it? I think it was called the audio box. I had a Presonus audio box. There you go. I had a Presonus audio. I feel like when you're like starting out, like when you're a new producer, you either go with a Focusrite, which is the thread guide, which I feel like everybody goes with. You go with an audio box, which I feel like nobody goes with, because they have like no marketing, right? Or if you have a little bit of money to spend, if you have a little bit of money to spend, like those two options are like the cheapest, they're like entry level, and they come with software. So it's like a good way in if you don't like if you just want to get into production, you need it in it. Like obviously, you need an interface, right, to connect speakers. So if you're building out like your first setup or whatever, and it comes with like the intro software or whatever. So those two options. I know like I know like I don't remember if they still do it, but like a while ago, you would get like if you wanted Pro Tools, for example, you had to get a Pro Tools interface, and it would come with its own, or you get the Pro Tools interface to get the entry version of Pro Tools. I don't use Pro Tools because since I produce, my homies have been trying to get me to learn Pro Tools, and I feel like I am slowly running out of options not to learn how to use Pro Tools, aside from the fact that Pro Tools is expensive. So there's that, but not the point. Anyway, so when I had my audio box, I also got, because at the time I still had, even right now, right? At some point I'll probably like show you guys what the actual like setup is in here. But I have two sets of speakers. I haven't always had two sets of speakers, but once I started getting the opportunity to get two sets of speakers in my general vicinity, I've always tried to have two sets of speakers so that way I could jump back and forth between them just for there's a word I'm looking for, but like for comparison, because like different speakers sound different, different speaker sizes sound different. When my first set of speakers was the Yamaha HS5s, right? Small 5 diameter speakers, the black and white joints. And they were good, but they also sounded like trash. For a variety of reasons. But it wasn't the speakers, it was just like the way that they are like a real entry level speaker. If you could make something sound good on there, then you could kind of figure out how to make something sound good pretty much everywhere. That's kind of like the philosophy of like I think they're like supposed to be based off of, remind you of like the Yamaha HS10s, which are like, or no, the NS10s. The Yamaha NS10s are like industry standard. Like if you go to like any big studio, they're like black and white speakers that you might see in a bunch of like photos in studios. They're known for being like super difficult to work with. They have no low end. They're like all mid range. I won't want to say like super high ranging, but like like they really love that mid to high range frequency, not a lot of bass. So the philosophy is if you can make something sound good on there, then you can pretty much make it sound good on any speaker. And I felt like the HS5s that I had and that you can pretty much get kind of put you in that same kind of philosophy of box of make it sound good here and then it will translate wherever else you play. And I feel like I got pretty good with my mixes because a lot of people were complimenting. I'm telling me like, yo, like your mixes sounded really good, or like even when I was not first starting, but like you have that like that little curve where you're like, okay, I went from being like kind of good, interested to like, okay, now other people are listening to my stuff and they're saying, okay, there's still some issues here, but like it sounds good. Or like once you get to that above that next level of just like, oh yeah, no, this sounds good. Like you make this, like I want to work with. Like when people start saying like, oh, this sounds good, we should work together. When you start to get into that little phase of creativity or whatever, that is where I was, wherein I was using my HS5s. Matter of fact, hold on a second. Let me grab. I also want to grab a hoodie, but let me grab because I have my HS. Let me be right back. Let me grab one of my speakers. All right. This is one of my HS5. As you can see, with the white, black and white 5 diameter speaker, went ahead and sticker blasted it, both of them, and then I blew them up. So I don't know if this is the one that works or not. But the reason I had to upgrade the speakers is because I blew them. I was using them so often that I like sat there. I was working one day, and I was just like, something sounds off. Like one of these speakers is sounding a lot louder than the other one, and I thought that maybe the balance on them or the gain or something was messed up on the back. Because I know I move my speakers around a lot, and I was kind of sitting there, and I was just like, something's off. Looked at it and was like, no, everything looks the same. Everything looks good. And I was like, oh yeah, no, I definitely blew it out. All right, so had to get some new speakers. But when I had my first two systems set up, with the audio box, it was with this guy and a pair of Rocket 8s, that I have on my desk right now. These are massive. They are huge. They are some beefy boys. So I had these, and yeah, going from a 5 to the 8. Because like I said, these, their bass range is quite limited. They are very mid heavy. Their highs are pretty tuned, so it's not like annoying, but it does take a lot of work to really get some like good, consistent low end out of these. Just because the driver isn't that big, versus listening to something that I made on the 8s, and it's like, oh, so all that low end, because I was gonna get a sub for these, and it's like Rocket 8s takes care of that because they're just so much bigger and they got so much bass. I had a device called a Mackie Big Knob. And the reason I liked it was because I could plug my audio interface into the big knob. So my computer would go into my interface. The speakers will be connected to that Mackie. And then I will be able to jump between the speakers, so I can have an A and B set. So I could have one connection, have that device monitoring the speakers, and I can jump between the two. That was a solution. It wasn't my favorite solution because I'm a fan of less is more, in the sense that I didn't like the fact that I had two devices to connect to. So one of the appealing aspects for me when I was researching the Apollo, one of the reasons why I got it was because I was able to do the same thing within the Apollo. So I have my Apollo set up now where if I want to listen to the two speakers, I have it set up where I can jump between both sets of speakers. So my actual mains are a pair of Atom T7Bs. Those were my next set of speakers after I got these Yamahas. My homie, I think he had a pair of either sevens or the fives. I can't remember. Actually, no. I had two pairs of homies that both had them. So one of my homies had a pair of the fives, and then my homie Nico, who showed me how to like actually get my mixes to really sound good. He had a pair of the sevens, and I remember I went over to his dorm And because he, like I said, he was showing me like how to get like really good mixes, because I feel like Nico has some of like the best mixes in his music. Uh, and also, homie was winning like all the beat battles. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, like we would have like beat battles, and dude would clean up. Again, his mix, like, to this day, he has some of like, I hear his music and I'm like, yeah, dude, like your mixes are crazy. Um, he's the one that showed me how to like fine tune and get my stuff to sound proper before I went in and started making them sound like not not insane, but fine tuning them to my personal sound. But the blueprint that got me to this point definitely came from him. I went over to his spot. He had a pair of the sevens, and I heard I heard like the way that those sounded, and I said, I need that. Like, the Yamahas are cool, but they don't sound like that. So that, as soon as I was interning, um, at like a magazine company at the time, like a music magazine or whatever, I remember as soon as I left, I think it was like a Thursday or a Friday. I left, went to Guitar Center, bought those speakers, and I actually ran into one of the reps from Adam Audio, and he was just like, he was laughing because he saw me buying them. He's like, "Oh, that's a good choice," and I was like, "Yeah, I appreciate it." And I had to like get new speaker cables for him, and homie was like, those aren't my cables." I was like, "Oh, really?" He goes, "Yeah, nah. I actually work for Adam Audio." And he gave me his information and everything. I was like, "Oh, dope." And he's like, "Yeah, you're gonna need to get these cables for these monitors or whatever." And I was like, "All right, cool, appreciate it, super dope." And those have been my mains for the longest. I actually want to upgrade them to another pair of Atom speakers because I'm so in love with the Atom sound. I think they are the best speaker that I've heard so far as like prosumer, and like that's an entry level, like the seven, the H the H series, right? Or the T, no. Um their naming convention is weird, but it kind of makes sense because like the T is like entry level. H is, I think, for like horizontal, because there's like a H or a V, so you can get like a horizontal or a vertical speaker, and then the number indicates like how big the driver is. So I want to upgrade those to a pair of the A series, which I think is like their step into like pro level before you start getting into like the super expensive like S tier qual, like, you know what I mean. But as far as what I want to do, especially like for the space that they occupy, because you don't want to get a too big of a speaker for a too small of a space. But for me, I really want to get a pair of the A7X's. They're like a horizontal um two driver speaker system. So that's what's on my list. I think they might have made like a new version of it. Um I'm content with like, I don't know. But that's the next thing I want to grab when I have to upgrade another set of speakers. But the mains are the Atoms because I think they're amazing. They sound amazing. And then my B set of speakers are the Rocket 8s. So they're similar in size, going from a 7 to an 8, but the Rockets are known for having way more low end. I feel like the Atoms are way more balanced as far as their frequency ranges are concerned. I feel like the Rockets definitely kind of favor that low end more, which is cool if you want a lot of that low um sub frequency or at least just to hear it. I feel like they do a better job, quote unquote, like a better, like it's all subjective, but I feel like they're better when you are in the middle of creating something and you want to like get excited by what you're hearing. And I feel like the atoms are way more balanced. Like for me, I personally get excited listening to the atoms, because I think they're amazing. Um, and just since they're so balanced and clear, everything just sounds great versus the rockets. Since they do favor that low end, it's gonna make everything sound a lot more boomy, which is a pro in and of itself, depending on like what you're making or what you're trying to do. But the main crux of this was the fact that I think the I think that Big Knob had the ability to act as a way for you to connect your phone to that device and then play it through the speakers. Now, I had a Big Knob. The key word is I had it. I'm not entirely sure if I still do. I have a pretty, I'm fairly confident. I want to say like 95% sure I sold it. I might even bump that up to like 99 point or 98.9 or gave it away because I do be giving out a lot of gear. I be giving gear out. If I don't need it, if I don't use it, um I'm the type of person, I'm more than happy to give somebody something and be like, yo, look, here's a blessing because I'm in a position to be able to get what I need when I need it. That's a blessing in and of itself to be able to move the way that I move sometimes. Um, and I would prefer to be able to be in a position where if somebody needs something, if I'm able to sell it, or if I'm just genuinely just like, you know what, here, be blessed, pass this on to somebody else, and they'll do something nice for somebody else. Being in that kind of situation. So there's been so much gear or just random items. I'm just like, you know what? Yeah, no, I'm good on this. Some people will sit there and be like, yo, like you're giving them. Like, yo, look, I don't. What am I gonna? I guess just taking up space at this point. Um, so I have a feeling that that is where that currently is at. As I probably is not with me. I have to check my random gear closet to see if I have it or not. But I feel like I don't. I've been trying to go through solutions to figure out how to do that. I did see a while ago, and I haven't been able to find that video since. And I should have saved it, or I should have jumped on it when I had the chance, but I didn't. And it was a video by Noise London. I feel like everybody should know that account. If you don't know that account, um, follow that account. I don't know if he's still putting out YouTube videos or not. But I do know he does, or I'm not sure if he's actually doing mixing and mastering anymore either, because I know that was a service that he was providing. But dude that runs that account is super informative. And he had a video a while ago about some sort of a program that you could put on your computer that would, I guess, effectively you could you could wirelessly play audio and your computer would take the audio from whatever the Bluetooth device was, or your phone or whatever, and then play it through your main studio monitors. And I've been looking for that video for so long, cannot find it. Can't find the software that dude was talking about. Like nothing of it. I'm gonna have to like just do like a deep scroll and just try to find it, do whatever I can to try to get that information. Um, but that's kind of like where I'm at as far as random projects go. Um, and I'm supposed to have, I might have a session tomorrow. I haven't confirmed it. The group chat is talking like this session is happening tomorrow, but like I didn't say pull up. So we're probably gonna have a session tomorrow, but like yeah, I didn't say pull up yet. So that is still subject to change. It probably won't, but just in case. I like to be able to have that option open and be like, oh, hold on a minute. Today's not going to work. Let's rearrange or, do whatever we got to do. But that kind of sums up everything that I've kind of been going through the last couple of days or whatever. I'm gonna hop back into the beat that I started working on with the HiChord. And then I'm depending on how we're feeling, how I'm feeling, how long we've been on here, I may start reworking an idea that I started before my computer decided to, be weird. But I went back to like whatever I started with that idea, and I was like, yeah, no, I still like this. So I might run through that too, but we'll see. I want to start back on this HiChord idea because that was really the one that I would really want to focus on because I really was enjoying working on that. So trying to think, is there anything else? Anything else? Watching the Big Lebowski. It's I don't know if it's a cult classic or if it's like an actual classic. I mean, it's got Jeff Bridges in it, so I'm assuming that like it's fairly popular. I just like that it checks a lot of the boxes for movies that I like to watch. So it's like it is a detective or it's like a little bit of like a mystery element to it, which I do enjoy. I like the creative filmmaking choices that they use in the movie, in some of the sequences. So that's always fun. And it is a comedy, which I'm not always the biggest fan of, but in this case, um, it works for me. It gives like what's the word I'm looking for? Like Seth Rogen kind of like I could see how like somebody like Seth Rogen watched a movie like this and was just like, yeah, I can make Pineapple Express. I can see the connections between this and like Pineapple Express or like a lot of his kind of like stoner comedies. I can definitely see like a parallel. So that being said, I'm ready. I'm gonna just go ahead. I want to jump into this idea. I don't know. I might not be able to come up with anything new for this. I might need some more time to kind of think on this, but hopefully come up with something. And then if not, there is one additional kind of an idea that I want to kind of play around with, but that kind of sums everything up. Chat, if you have anything, go ahead and throw that in there as well. And let's go ahead and get started. What if I do like, I do this a lot, but it kind of works. We do like a piano or something like that. Let me also go back over here. I want to go. What's that? Not feeling that, but what I did think was interesting. All right, we're gonna change this a bit. We'll do. I thought this was interesting. What is this? Ah! Okay, let me just turn that off. I'll turn that off. Let's do like All right, cool. I got an idea here. I'm gonna do. I need. I need. I need. Okay, so now I'm see, and now this is when it starts to get annoying again because now we're back to that section. Now we're trying to avoid. Ah. All right. Think. And then it starts to get out of sync right here. Okay, so there's something. Okay, wait. I think that kind of does it, because then I can take that out, right? And then it's. That's close, right? All right, cool. So I'm making a note there. All right, so that's 45. Cool. So then that's where the drums are going to come back in at. Or these drums are here, or they? Or a different, or maybe like a different version of these drums. Not entirely sure, but let's just go with that for the time being. Yeah, let's go with that for the time being. All right, so that's a problem. Because there should be one nice little. No, it's not it either. I gotta clean this up. I think it'd be cool once it's like clean. I get all the ideas here. I have an idea like the structure and whatnot. I get rid of that, and I can put this section here, which is like. Okay, yeah, no, not. I can't speed it up. That's not the answer. I would do like a, maybe like like almost like like tapping on guitar, like. But I think this is a good enough like base of it anyway. Which is like. Uh, huh, those are kind of cool. All right, I'll make note of that. Sound kind of good. I need something that's kind of like a. This is awkward. Yeah, sat there and said, "Yeah, nah. What if I just?" Well, that happened. All right. Well, I used to DJ. I was making like electronic music, and whenever my like if I'd have like a crack, like if I brought like train wrecked a set or if like something just stopped working abruptly, my go-to was to play like the Star Wars theme or the what's the other song? Crap, I can't think of it right now. But like I would just start playing the Star Wars, like quickly just go find the Star Wars theme and just sit there and be like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie. It's just start making jokes and be like, it's always awkward being up here, because everything's going smoothly until it's not, and then everybody looks at me awkwardly. Uh, you know, you guys thought you were dancing, and the music stopped, and now we're all looking at each other awkward. And I'm trying to fix it, and you're trying to figure out what the fuck is wrong. And I know somebody in the crowd is sitting there saying, "Look at this dumbass. I know I can do it better than you." And in this circumstance, you're probably right. But you better be glad you're not in my shoes right now because you be standing here awkwardly being me right now. And then the Star Wars, theme will play. I get a few jokes out to whoever, like to the crowd or whatever. And honestly, I feel like if you just, like in those types of situations, some people say like don't acknowledge the fact that something isn't working or just try to keep it going. I'm not gonna lie to you. My brand of awkwardness acknowledges the fact that like shit's not working. And I'll just sit there and be like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, this didn't happen today. And you know what? It is what it is. You can see it. I can see it. There's no point in trying to hide it. You want to get in a circle and sing Kumbaya, my lord? Pretty sure I did do that once where I just kind of sat there and was like, all right, cool. So like, Kumbaya, my lord. And what's funny is if you do that, right, and acknowledge that, people will grant you like a little bit of grace and will go along with the joke as long as you can fulfill the promise of getting back on track quickly. That there's a caveat there. If you start taking too long, and then it's like, all right, this joke isn't funny anymore. Let's get back on track. But it's what it is.
Software.
All right, honestly, let's actually go in and jump to the next idea anyway, since that one's kind of. And I kind of clean it up, and I'll clean it up in a minute. Let me. So they have one more idea I wanted to work on. If I can find it. It's crazy. It's like, well, I saw it the other day and was like, yes, I want to work on that. And then I need to find it right now. And it's like, what if I don't? I think it's this one. Oh, yeah, I think it's this one. Yeah. Yeah, it's this one. Cool. Before let me see something. Let me see if I can find my missing. Let's see if it at least find my missing drums, because then that'd be like less work I have to end up doing. And then if it can't, then I'll just what we call it? I'll make a new set. 'Cause I think that's what I was thinking about before when I was working on this. I was like, what if I just made a new set of drums to go along with this idea? See if all it's working if I can't play this. Oh no, I guess I can't. Well, that is unfortunate. Well, in the meantime, we shall we shall overcome. We shall overcome. I need to actually. I saw talking about things I learned. I watched a clip earlier today. It was talking about like just being in different sessions and melodies and stuff like that. And it was just like if you show up to a session with 2 to 3 idea just concepts, um, you'll be so like far ahead of the curve because there's like a lot of people just show up and either the artist is type A enough in the brain, like personality wise, where you're like, okay, this is what I want, so we're gonna do. Um, let's get to work. It can kind of like control the session in that way. But it's more so just like if you're running out of ideas or if you're not entirely sure what to do next, if you can come in with like 2, maybe 3 ideas to work off of, whether it's like a melody, a a word, um, just something to build off of that you'll kind of like, set yourself, or you consistently build that reputation of being like, hey, yeah, no, this person's going to show up with these ideas consistently. I can get invited to more sessions, whatever, whatever. And I was like, yeah, no, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. And I was thinking about it. And I was like, okay, cool. I feel pretty confident. I feel pretty confident. And then at the end of the clip, it said, and if you're a producer, and I was just like, uh-oh. He goes, if you aren't the best producer, I was like, oh God, this is feeling awfully pointed and well timed. Like if you're not the best, you need to show up with like 2, 3 ideas, melodies, and some lyrics. I was like, dang. All right, well, at least we started. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that was like very, very direct and very pointed, but at least it was like, all right, well, at least if that's, I feel like that's an area that I've been working on, and he's hearing that, it was like, well, shit. I ain't doing nothing special. Like, you know what I mean? It's like you think you're doing, like, you think you like you know you're on the right track because then you start seeing things that I feel like if you're trying to figure out how to put this, but it's like I have some of my like my homies and like Big Bro, and it's just like, all right, we have conversations, and I hear the type of stuff that you're doing or that you worked on, or like where you were at in your career versus where I'm at in mine like right now. And it's just like, I'm not doing anything that you weren't doing when where you're at where I'm at, if that makes sense. So it's not like I'm not doing anything I shouldn't be doing, or it's not like I'm not doing enough, um, so to speak. And it's not I'm not saying this in the way of comparison. Do not get it twisted. This is not about comparison. It's about, at least for what I'm trying to say, and in my case, it's solely in regards to follow, taking note of others that came before you in a similar situation that you know, because it's a lot harder and a lot easier, right? To try to compare yourself or to try and align your situation to somebody who's like far above you, right? And it's like that's cool, but like what they're doing is at such a higher level, or where they were at in your career, like where they were at in their career versus where you're at in your career, and like the time frame, right? So a lot of people that I look up to is like they were getting on before the internet, so like their situation was different and how they were moving was different, and there's still ways that it can apply, but you know what I mean. Like it's different times, and even when like they're bigger, and it's like, okay, well, like you're doing, but you have access to different things that I don't have access to, um, versus when you have somebody who's like farther along than you, but also like similar enough to you, or like I can still reach out to you and be like, hey, like here's some ideas that I have, or can you listen to this or that, or whatever. So, all right, cool. In that vein, you can I'm trying to build the plans just flying, but like not necessarily compare, but you can evaluate in a less toxic way, I guess. So you can sit there and you can be like, all right, cool. So like I'm doing everything that I can do, and I know that like I'm taking note of what you've done, and I've seen where this can take me. So it's not outside the realm of possibility. Me and my friends like to say that, like, like when other people are being blessed next to us, it is not, there's no need to hate on anybody, because it's like, why would you hate when that's just God in the neighborhood? Like he's like, that's just being like, okay, cool. God is at, like, he's in the neighborhood. So it's just like, all right, cool. So like, I mean, your situation next, you know what I'm saying? Versus sitting and being like, oh, well, you got this going on, or like so and so has this going on. Like, why look at it in like a negative way when it's honestly much more positive than your brain might like to default to. Um, and I say that because it's just like, okay, cool. So I heard that. It's like if you're a producer, you need to come with melodies, with concepts, with lyrics. And it's like that might sound like a lot when you're like, man, like I thought I was, gonna be tough, you know, working in this lane. And it's like, no, the reality of the situation is, if you want to work, like if your goal is to true, or at least back up a little bit, what I took away from that was, if your goal is to truly be working right in music, because at the end of the day, music is a business, right? If your goal is to truly be working in the business of making music, right, in the business of making records, you need to be doing more than just the thing that you're accustomed or that you've been doing, because that's not enough separation, right? because I think it was like Kenny Beats. It was just like everybody makes beats, right? Everybody's sending loops out. So it's like, what are you doing to separate yourself from the people who are making beats, right? Because everybody be sending beats to Dre. Dre got 1,000 people that want to work with him, and they'll just send him beats. Dre sends me beats of people that have sent him beats. And it's like, yo, like, can we evaluate? It's like, what, or you know what I'm saying? It's like everybody sends beats. Like, if you go on YouTube right now, there's 1,001, and right now, as I'm talking, there's probably 1,002 type beat channels. Somebody just put up a type beat right now. So it's like, what else? What else are you doing? And I feel like, again, if your goal is to work in the business of making records, right, you should want to learn how to, like, all the different facets of the creative process of making a record. That doesn't mean you gotta act, it doesn't mean you gotta be good at every part of that process, but you can at least learn to understand what it means to write a hook. Why are certain hooks catchy? Why are certain songwriters doing the certain processes they're doing? Because at the end of the day, what it does is it helps you to translate or be able to talk to that person, right? You can talk their language. You know, producers are able to talk in the language of producers. And artists aren't always able to talk in the language of producers. But if you are a producer who understands how to communicate to an artist, well, now you're able to be in better sync. A lot of artists may not be able to talk to their engineer, but the ones that are doing, like, that are really doing well and that really understand their process, they can speak the language of an engineer. It might not be 100, it might not be a 1-to-1, right? But I know artists that'll sit there and I'll be like, yo, what's your vocal chain? And they're like, I don't know. But I know I want auto tune and a reverb of my voice. All right, cool, whatever. I can do that. And I talk to some artists and go, what's your vocal chain? And they say, I got this, and these are my settings. Okay. Now that's that level of separation where it's like, oh, you know what it is, you know what it is that you're looking for, you know your sound down to, I know my settings. I know I have 25% on my chorus. I know my humanize is at 8%. I know how much processing I want on my auto. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, so I took that away from, I heard that and I was like, at first I was like, dang, all right. And then I thought about it and I was like, all right, cool. Everything that homie just said in this clip about what you should be looking at and how you should be moving, I was like, all right, cool. It's good to know that that's what it takes at a certain level and that I'm already trying to learn and incorporate that. I'm not necessarily saying that I'm the best at it, right? But at least I have a willingness to learn and to figure that out. That's why I was like, yeah, I know at some point I'm gonna have to learn Pro Tools. I've been putting it off, and I felt that the trade-off that I made in my mind when I was working with the artists that I work with was, all right, cool. I might not learn Pro Tools right now, but we're gonna learn how to write. And I need to be writing more, but I've been learning how to write. I've sent songs that I sat there and said, yo, like, how does this sound? These are the words. This is what I wrote. You know, this is the demo that we made based off of the song that I wrote. How does it sound? And it was like, oh, okay. So it's good. Where it's like, oh, somebody listens to it. It's like, okay, yeah, no, this isn't bad. You wrote this, okay. We can kind of work off of this. Is it perfect? No, but you're not. I'm not a songwriter. Like I'm developing that skill. It's not a fair assumption, and you should also take this mindset too. Is when you're learning a new skill, remember it's a new skill, so it's not gonna come as easy. It's not gonna be as good as whatever the main thing is that you do. I feel like personally, I'm a good producer, right? Like I genuinely believe. I'm like, yeah, no, I know. Like, if somebody sits there and is like, hey, look, open up your computer. This is what I need, and you're coming to me for a sound. I'm like, oh yeah, no, we have a sound that we want. This is what we're gonna do. Like, all right, go ahead, open my computer. We can get to working. You know what I'm saying? And I know that if I walk up to an artist and they say, hey, play some beats off of the computer, I know I'm like, all right, cool, I got some stuff. You feel me? And I know it's gonna hit. But I don't expect that same level. I work to that same level. You know what I'm saying? Like, I give the same amount of energy that I would one of my beats, like when I produce. I give the same energy and the same level of care that I would to the actual art of writing that I would my producing, but I don't hold it to that same standard. I think it's good. I know what a good song sounds like. So I can sit and go, oh yeah, no, I think this sounds good. I think this will work. Give it to the artist. Do what you do. You know what I'm saying? I give it to a songwriter. Do what you do. I'm always open to working with people who are better than me because I feel like that yields the best product. And I say that, and I will always continue to say that because I genuinely want to make the best product. At the end of the day, I want good product. So if I make something that's a good foundation, and I say, yeah, no, it's a solid foundation, cool. Give it to somebody who could take it to that next level. And that's ultimately what I got from that is, all right, cool. I heard that interview, and what I got from that is I'm not doing anything that there's nothing that homie said in his little clip that I'm not doing. So that just tells me I'm on the right track. And I think that's the biggest takeaway is whenever you hear something and you're analyzing, because that's just personal development at that point. You're looking at it. And if that's something that you're lacking in, then don't see it as a slight or like oh man, that means it's like you're not any, which means that's something that you need to work on. Just see that as like, oh, okay, that's an area that, I can boost like a skill tree, like in a video game. I'm just boosting XP at this point. Like I'm literally like farming XP just so that I can boost all my stats because I want to be an overpowered player. Like I don't want to have to, get to a boss fight and I want to be able to just god smack bosses and move on with my day. XP farming, and that's all. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Now let's see what this was able to kind of pull up out of here. All right, so we don't have any of the percussion. Does that not have kicks? No kicks. All right, I can take that. Oh, that's probably so. This melody loop guy or whatever is something that I made, saved it, bounced it out, and then never came back. I just took the stems out of it and I started reworking it. And I was like, I think I can do something with this. All of these are these all in the wrong place? It might have been because of however the percussion, like however the hats or whatever was in there, but like since there are no hats, I'm just gonna. All right, cool. That can work for the time being, and I just want to do like I don't know how much I like that or not, so we're gonna turn that off. Start from the top, actually. Ooh, wait. Hold on a second. What if I do like do it? Hold on a minute. All right, hold on. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, might be running out of gas. Mm, I think I am. Let me do it again. This honestly might be the one I work on tomorrow. Go ahead and save that. I'm running out of gas. All right, yeah. I think that might be the plan, or either work on this tomorrow or she'll set whatever. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what we get into. But I think I'm about to call it because I am like I can hear it. I hear it. But appreciate y'all rocking as per usual. As always, the streams Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, maybe Saturday. Also, if you guys miss a stream and want to check it out, I am posting streams on YouTube. So there's that. If you want, subscribe. If not, you know where to find us. that's pretty much it. I'll catch up with y'all later.